welcome to this Thought for the Week. My name is John Towler. I'm an associate priest in the Avon Valley Churches, which is a group of parishes in the northwest, or no, southwest of the New Forest. This morning, I want to reflect on beacons of light. On Thursday this week, we commemorated VE Day victory in Europe. It was a day to celebrate once more the liberation of Europe from the hands of the Nazi aggressor Hitler and the atrocities committed during that Second World War. Unless we were part of that celebration of VE Day, it's difficult to imagine the sheer joy of the war ending, with the sensation of bombing and the racing to the nearest bomb shelter at the sound of the warning sirens, the knowledge that loved ones still alive would be returning home, the gradual recovery to living a normal life. Alongside this, of course, was much sadness of those who were killed in action, those who would not return home. And the bitterness, anger, and sadness maybe of widows and widowers bereft of their dearest. And of course, the knowledge that there was still some involved in the combat in Japan, which would not find its resolution until August 1945. To that end, beacons were lit across the country, or at least the ones in our area. In Fordingbridge and Bremer, at least, I realise. These were lit to commemorate a day of joy and light and sadness. Beacons to light up the sky, maybe to lighten up people's lives, beacons of hope for a peaceful future. Google tells me beacons help guide navigators to their destination. Types of navigational beacons include radar reflectors, radio beacons, sonic and visual signals. Visual beacons range from small single-path structures to large lighthouses or light stations and can be located on land or water. There you go. These are modern forms of beacons. The braziers lit across the country are a vivid symbol of light and hope in a continuing dark world where innocent men, women, and children are deliberately being starved, are caught in the crossfire of war, are maimed and killed. And I don't have to run through all those parts of the world in which this is happening, save to say, I find it heartbreaking. It makes me feel very angry and feeling hopeless, like as a bystander. It seems to me humanity does not want to listen and understand that starting wars isn't a senseless activity when we have the intelligence and hearts to navigate an alternative without killing. I hope the beacons of light which were lit on Thursday have touched our hearts and minds and reminding us that light is stronger than darkness, that love is stronger than death. That is the deep message we carry as Easter people. The light of the risen Christ shines brightly if we choose to let go our negativity. For the church, Thursday was a day also when we commemorated another beacon of light in a dark world. That dark world was the world of the 13th century, and the beacon of light was the Mother Julian of Norwich. Born in 1342 and as a child of 7, she witnessed the Black Death, and she tells us she received her revelations of divine love when she was 30 years old. From the warmth of her description of the love of God in terms of the love of a mother, we might guess she had a happy home life. Mature in insight and yet unlettered, she may well have received her schooling from the Benedictine nuns of Carrow in Norwich. No one is quite sure whether or not she belonged to a religious order, yet her anchorage, her cell, is to be found at the site of St. Julian and St. Edward's Church in the medieval city of Norwich, where pilgrimage is still made to this day. Her illness occurred when she was 30, during which time she reports receiving 16 revelations, all described in her Revelations of Divine Love. And in this work, she is a wise and welcome guide into the mystery of suffering, and what is more, spells out her message in direct homespun English. So I want to briefly just to share one of her showings, her Revelations, which introduces us to one of her most memorable images, which is fundamental to the rest, the vision of the hazelnut. She said, "He showed me more, a little thing, the size of a hazelnut on the palm of my hand, round like a ball. I looked at it thoughtfully and wondered, what is this? And the answer came, it is all that is made. I marveled that it continued to exist and did not suddenly disintegrate. It was so small. And again, my mind supplied the answer. It exists both now and forever because God loves it. In short, everything owes itself to the existence of God. In a permanent exhibition at Norwich Cathedral called Vision of God, Mother Julian's revelation of the hazelnut is depicted against a backcloth of the moon landing in the 60s. Julian's picture of the hazelnut reinforced by the Earth as observed by the astronauts returning from the moon, a tiny thing as small as a nut, and yet the ground of all existence. Julian's conviction was that the Earth, so microscopic against the background of the cosmos, was held together because it was created out of love. And as she says very famously, love was its meaning. I believe Julian was truly a beacon of light in the dark world of the 13th century. Her truths are enduring for us in the 21st century. What amazing lessons to receive from one so young and in the depth of personal suffering. May ours also be the sight and simplicity to see the things of God which Mother Julian saw. For her as for us, Christ, whom she called her mother, her succor and support, is the source of that joy and creativity, that beauty, value and goodness, and that knowledge and trustfulness in whom women and men of every age have continued to find their peace and rest. For as she writes, for love is his meaning. What a week. Thursday evening saw white smoke curling its way into the bright blue sky as a new pope was announced. Habemus Papa. I like to think of that white smoke transformed into a beacon of light as the Pope begins his leadership of the Catholic Church of our brothers and sisters. Pope Leo XIV appeared on the balcony with a message of peace as he proclaimed, I too would like this greeting of peace to enter your hearts, to reach your families and all people wherever they are, and all the peoples and all the earth. Peace be with you. This is the peace of the risen Christ, a disarming and humble and preserving peace. It comes from God. Words, I believe, of light and hope, a beacon of light for a world torn apart by war and hatred and terrorism and greed. Let us then remind ourselves as Christians that the light of Christ's love will never overcome the darkness of the world. The light will be dimmed for many of us, sometimes for too long at a time, and I'm sure for those people who endured the Second World War and other wars, the light is dimmed for too long. As the Paschal candle is lit on Easter Eve and brought into the darkness of the church, the flickering flame begins to lighten up the darkness. It beckons us ourselves to lighten up, become enlightened with the good news of the gospel of God's love, God's eternal love, a love and a beacon of light in the direst times of war, hunger, homelessness, and rejection and death. A light and a love which will never let us go. Thank you for listening.